On a 12 by 18 inch paper, trace a large circle. Mine here is 10 inches in diameter. To find the center, use a ruler. I line up the edge of my ruler and see how it goes to 10. What's half of 10? 5. So I make a little tick mark above the 5. Now, holding my ruler vertically, I'm going to do the same thing at the 5. Where my two short lines meet, that's the center of your circle. Depending where you start at each line, you may have to drag one of your lines down so they meet. We're going to use our rulers again to divide our circle into 12 pieces. But you only need to draw 6 long lines. Make sure your line touches one side of the circle, passes through that center dot, and reaches the other side of your circle. We're not measuring here, so your slices don't have to be the exact same width. Some spaces can be wider, some can be more narrow. Again, you only need to draw 6 long lines. After you draw your 6 long lines, let's count our spaces. You should have 12. Think of it like 12 pieces of a pie. Now, use your pencil and label the outside of each slice. Do not label the lines. Label the slice itself. We're going to turn these slices into buildings. We're going to create a worm's eye view of a city, so it looks like we're looking up at these super tall buildings. In between each slice, I would like you to draw a straight line from one line to the other. Try to vary where you put these lines. Some can be closer to the middle dot, while other lines can be lower and closer to the outside of your circle. Lines that are closer to the center dot will be taller buildings. Lines that are lower to the bottom circle will be shorter. After you finish drawing lines in between each slice, take out an eraser and erase all the long lines that are above. You do have to pay attention that you don't accidentally erase the side of a building. If you do, simply just draw it back. What we did there was just broke open our sky. But before we get to that, let's trace over all of our buildings with a black permanent marker. Decide what time it is. Is it daytime where you're going to draw a sun and some clouds? Or is it nighttime? Maybe you show the moon. Maybe you even want some UFOs flying around. Whatever you decide, draw it in the sky here. Next, let's add some details to our buildings. You can use the edges of your paper to plan out what buildings you want to include, or you can simply just start drawing. Think of places a city might have. Apartments, hotels, places to shop, places to eat, maybe a fruit stand. Maybe a post office, a hospital, a cafe, a donut shop, a deli to get your favorite sandwich or hoagie, a toy store, maybe an art museum or a pet shop. Not every building needs to be labeled, but it's more fun and creative when you have a few that are recognizable. You can vary the different size windows and doors. Is it a single door or a double door to enter? Are the windows large or small? Does the building have shrubs out front? Is there a sign labeling what it is? Are there people sitting out front? Keep your details simple, because we're only going to be using one color per building. Now let's trace over our lines with permanent marker. You may want to use the fine, regular permanent marker for some parts of your artwork, but I'm going to use the ultra-fine, almost pen-like permanent marker for most of mine. Be mindful how you hold the ultra-fine permanent marker. Hold it on an angle and take your time. It's just a little felt nib on the end. If you're too rough or hold it too upright, the nib with the ink ends up splitting and breaking, and then it won't work, even if it's brand new. Take out a block eraser and carefully erase all of your pencil lines. This is why we outline with permanent marker. The marker won't smudge or budge when you erase. Time to review our tertiary color wheel. We know the primary colors as red, yellow, and blue, and we should know the secondary colors as orange, green, and violet. But there can be even more colors, one more step in between. These are called the tertiary colors. These are colors that are in between the primary and the secondary. Colors like red-orange, yellow-orange, yellow-green, blue-green, blue-violet, and red-violet. Our Cityscape color wheel is going to include all 12 of these colors. Using your individual mini color wheel as a reference, label each slice or building with each color in order. It doesn't matter where you start, and it really doesn't matter which number is which color, as long as you stay in order of the color wheel. The color wheel is a circle. It goes around and around. I started with orange, and then I labeled my next one yellow-orange. My third building is yellow. Follow the color wheel in order. Don't skip around. The trickiest part might be is to find the right shade of every color pencil. You may not be able to find a color like red-violet, so if not, simply use magenta. Make sure you're reading the label. For instance, this says orange. I want to make sure the building I labeled as orange is this color. Oftentimes, color pencils from the outside look very similar, and sometimes we don't realize we've been using a different color this whole time. Now I need to find my yellow-orange. It looks very similar to orange, so again, make sure you read the label. But when you color with it, it should look lighter. Now, yellow comes after yellow-orange. Yellow-green comes after yellow. If you truly can't find a yellow-green, any light green, spring green, or lime green would work. Green comes after yellow-green. Pure green is actually kind of dark. Next color on the color wheel is blue-green. It might also be called teal or aqua. If you're truly having trouble finding the right color, you can always use two color pencils to mix. You could do this by coloring lightly with your green and then lightly on top with blue. After blue-green comes regular blue. Be sure to read the color. For some reason, blue-colored pencils look very, very similar to violet-colored pencils. So make sure to read the label or test it out on the side of the paper to see if it's truly blue. Blue-violet is next. This one is really hard to find as well. I do have them in my watercolor color pencil sets. But if you can't find that blue-violet watercolor color pencil, color the building lightly all blue and then lightly with violet right on top. Again, you would go back and forth with each color, building it up so it looks like a color that's in between blue and in between violet. Next is just violet. Again, read the label because it does look similar to blue. We have another tricky color to find, red-violet. Again, I do have it in my watercolor color pencil sets, but if you truly can't find it, just use a magenta. Red-violet looks like a deep pink. It's both violet and red together. So if you can't find a red-violet or magenta colored pencil, take some red, lightly color, and color some violet right on top. Now I'm using pure red right next to my red-violet. Again, always double check the label, because you might accidentally be using brick red or even red-orange. And last, but certainly not least, for my tertiary color wheel is red-orange. You can definitely find a red-orange labeled color pencil with the other color pencils. Now choose any colored color pencils for your sky. Since I chose daytime, I'm selecting yellow for the sun and a very light blue for the sky. But maybe yours is at night. Or there's a sunset or a sunrise happening. Maybe there's fireworks in the sky. An airplane, some birds, you decide. Select your colors based on how you want your sky to look. For the final steps, you're going to need scissors, glue, and a 12 by 12 piece of black paper. Let's carefully cut out our circle. Yes, you're going to lose the words and the numbers around. Throw away your trash, and let's neatly glue it to the black paper. Decide what way your circle should go. Which building's at the top, which buildings are at the bottom. Flip your building paper over. Let's make a large circle on the back with our glue. Again, be careful you don't get too close to the edge because the liquid glue will smush out. Flip your circle over and glue your city on, right in the middle of your black square paper. With clean hands, gently press. Using a white colored pencil, sign your name at the bottom and don't forget to write your class code.